Hi folks, we're Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for joining this audio radio, no pictures live stream. Listen to this as you're going along in your car or driving in your truck or sticking those the buds in while you're in public transport. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the two-tiered justice system. Now, something that sort of shocked me was I was doodling through the news, and I won't mention the jurisdiction or any names. I'll just talk about the, if you like, the wider architecture of how this is put together and how it happened. But the sort of the quick version is this: that a man, straight white male, a man with no money, just a drifter with a shitty job, he was working in a place where there was a lot of young women coming through, and they were taking selfies and leaving them on like a picture board at this particular venue. And he was took some of those pictures and attached the heads of these women that are coming through, attached their heads to bodies of naked women, and then put the two together, digitally altered photographs. The naked bodies he got off the internet, just random stuff off the internet, but put the heads of as in digitally put the heads of these women onto these naked bodies, and then uploaded them to some quite obscure porn website that nobody watched or looked at, or hardly anybody was. So now, is that a ridiculous and dumb thing to do? Should there be a penalty for that? Now, given that, as I understand it, at least, these women were, or most of them were patrons to the business, and he was using their image or their heads for this purpose, then it was more than just a prank or a joke, although you could kind of put it in that category. But I think it went beyond that, and he should have got their permission, written permission. He didn't, and this sort of thing. Now, he doesn't come across as a genius, this guy, but he made the mistake of bragging about it to some people, and on the income he's on, he's got to share an apartment or a place with lots of other people, and even used, as I understand it, some of his roommates or flatmates used their heads as well. So anyway, that's it. Now, there should have been a cease and desist. There should have been, and I think he should have been fired from his job for using the heads of patrons in that way. And so, but should it be a police matter? Should the state, with all its resources, be aggressively intervening here and going after this guy? I mean, this guy can't afford lawyers and things like that. He's got no way of fighting back. He's not a sophisticated guy. He can't read legal documents and things like that. So they drag this rather hapless guy into the court and absolutely fuck him over 3 times, every way from Sunday, and he gets nearly 10 fucking years in prison for this. Now you go, whoa, stop! Are you kidding? So we've got activists that can bring a whole city to a standstill, blocking the roads, and refuse repeated police orders to move, and chaos that lasts for 5, 6, 7 hours until it's all unraveled, traffic chaos and so on, disruption to all sorts of things, business, doctors can't get to hospitals. I mean, serious disruption. And what does that activist get? A $50 fine. A $50 fine for all that. Black Lives Matter burning down buildings, people tearing down statues, people being assaulted and beaten up, arson, serious crimes by any measure. And what do they get? A community service order, or nothing at all. So that's what they get. But here's a guy who digitally alters photographs, and he gets almost 10 years in prison. Now, you've got to say, well, where's the balance? Why is the activist that brought the whole city to a standstill, they get a $50 fine, and this guy for digitally altering photographs, he gets a... But stop. We need to just step back a little bit here and understand the system of two-tier justice. Now, the judge in the case, who just happens to be a feminist activist who happens to confess to being just a shy little tiny little girly I'm just a little girly, I'm so little and shy, and as a younger person, and who wanted to work in international law to fight back against the evil oppressors. She was given a gig as a judge. Just for me, if I'm picking judges, which I will never be in a position to do, but if I'm picking judges, the last thing I would do is pick an activist. In a million years, you wouldn't pick an activist, because the judge is meant to apply the law, not to make it up as they go along, not to have their incurable sort of petty sensibilities played out in some fantasy in the fucking courtroom. That's not what judges are for. I believe that. So others may see it differently. So the judge decides to reclassify what this guy did, putting heads on photographs, to reclassify what he did as violence against women, the sort of violence that Hitler would do, and with swastikas. And so he's now committed the most heinous act of violence you can imagine. But stop. You digitally altered photo. We've redefined that, though. We have the court has redefined that as violence. Not only just violence, but evil violence, beyond evil, triple evil, quadruple. And because of that, it's now a heinous crime. But it's not a heinous, but we've defined it as such. So somehow an activist judge, feminist activist judge, who is more than keen, zealously looking at this as an opportunity to send a message to those fucking Nazis. So now, the judge actually says that this case is a suitable vehicle to send a message to all those fucking Nazi oppressors. You're kidding me? The judge just decides this on the fly? I mean, that's not a judge anymore. That is a rabid act, in my opinion. That is a rabid activist behaving like a rabid activist. So this is the thing. Now should there have somebody, he bragged about it, I think, years ago, how it started, and told some woman who's not bad looking, I guess, but she ain't no beauty queen. And she then looks it up and somehow finds the porn website. I don't know how graphic the porn was. I haven't seen it, or even seen the photographs for that matter. And she goes to the police. Now, it seems she's encouraged in this. Who's encouraging her? Someone's telling her, you go to the police and try and get them to do it. If there's any legal costs associated, we'll pay for it. Now, who are these activists that are encouraging her and pushing her? She is given contacts within the prosecution department about people who will be very sympathetic to her position. So straight away, there's a network of activists within the Department of Justice and the prosecution department. Now, remember, they're paying all the bills. So the taxpayer, rather, the government is paying all the bills for this. Now, in addition to this, I think there was something in the order of 20 women who were affected or claimed to have been affected on this. And there seems to have been, at best I can discern, looking between the lines, some sort of NGO-funded or taxpayer-funded, like, victim support group. So those people have been going to, you're all victims, you're all oppressed by fucking Nazis. You have to fight back against the oppressor. You're brave resistance fighters. Send a message to those fucking Hitlers out there. So they were ginned up and everything paid for. Activist networks sort of really gathering, like slavering hyenas around, saying, that they're gathering around and ginning it all up and saying, go after this guy who can't fight back. He's got no money. He's no legal genius. He's got nothing, no one's looking after him or paying his bills. So he was easy pickings, bullies just taking the little kid out back and kicking the shit out of him. This is what it was, in my opinion. So anyway, the guy now, the gloating, the fucking gloating from left-wing media outlets is just obscene. They love this idea. Straight white male being sent to prison for this. That's beautiful. Now, if the guy was fined, if he got a $50 fine, like the activist that closed down the whole traffic network in the city, and they caused infinitely more damage and harm and cost than that this guy did, why do they get a $50 fine and he gets the thick end of 10 years in prison? Well, why is that? I mean, is that justice? Is that what we call justice today? It's not, in my view. So I guess a few things concern me here. One is the activist networks in the Justice Department, or I mean, can we even call it that anymore? The activist networks. The idea you can reclassify what this guy did as an extreme act of gender violence. I mean, like, wow, how do you do that? I mean, you'd have to be, it's Marxism on quadruple steroids. So you get activists, then you get support groups and NGOs gathering around to dim these up and convince these women they're victims and to pursue prosecuting. You can go too. You go along as well. But I can't afford the time. We'll pay for you. So a lot. I don't know how much help went on in the background there. A lot, I would suspect. And then somehow the Justice Department just magically picks an activist judge, feminist judge, who's very much into gender violence, the oppressed minorities, who's really into that shit. Somehow she gets picked to hear the case. This is no accident. This is not just the next cab off the rank as it's meant to be in that court. They're meant to just rando select a judge to hear the case. That's how it works. The next available judge and the next case that comes up, and that's how it's meant to work, supposed to work. Those are the rules. But somehow magically, it just happens that they get a feminist activist judge there who believes that she's going to reclassify this digitally altering of photographs to be a heinous hate and vicious violence crime, and that it's appropriate that this case should be used to send a message to all those Nazi Hitlers out there. I mean, wow, how the fuck do you line up that many doors? So this was clearly a done deal. This guy didn't realize it, but he was being taken out back and shot without him even knowing. And that's what happened here. And it's a fucking disgrace. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.
We know what it's all about.
Just wait till I get the end.